Hey folks, David Stewart here. Today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people on the channel have been asking me to talk about for quite some time, and that's the big concept of music theory, the big realm of music theory. What is music theory? Well, music theory is like a theory in any other field, an attempt to explain how things work. It's a model that explains how things work, and in the case of music, what we're trying to explain is what elements we're using in music and what elements we can use when we're composing music to accomplish specific effects, how we can affect the listener, how we can have an impact on the listener, and what that effect is going to be, and what in music is creating that effect. That's really what the big realm of music theory is, and that includes all the little compositional elements that you may already be familiar with or may not yet be familiar with, like chords, keys, melody, rhythm, bigger formal arrangements, how your ideas are organized into a coherent piece of music. All of those things fall under the category of music theory. Today, I'm just going to talk about two really broad and easy to understand concepts. That's consonance and dissonance. They're antonyms of each other. But before I dig into that, I want to explain a little bit about what music really is. Defining what music is sometimes is harder than just listening to music and knowing that it's music, but it's an important thing to think about because it sort of explains how music theory works in the biggest, broadest sense. So what you need to know is that what you experience as music is basically a response to mathematical relationships between different frequencies of sound over time. So there's two elements of it. One is time and the other one is frequency. Frequencies that are closely mathematically related, we tend to call consonants. So if I play an octave for you, that's not an octave, there's an octave. So if I play an octave for you, an octave is one pitch that's exactly double the frequency of a lower pitch. That's one octave. So your brain hears that harmonious relationship, a doubling of the frequency, as consonants. And the easiest way to think of consonants is rest. And I can actually just write that down for you guys. Consonance is being at rest. So the opposite of consonance is dissonance, and that's going to be, we can think of that as tension, a desire to reach rest. Just like how when you hold something up, it wants to fall to the earth. When it's done falling to the earth, that's our rest point. That's consonance. So if I play that octave again, one frequency is exactly double the other. That's a sense of rest. Those pitches are very closely mathematically related. If I play just one note apart for one of them, we now have what's called a minor ninth. That's a very, very dissonant interval. It's tension. It wants to resolve up to the rest point. So consonance and dissonance, they're antonyms of each other and they're closely related. When you compose a piece of music, you're trying to control the amount of dissonance so that you create a series of resolutions that are satisfying to the listener. If you have nothing but dissonance for an entire composition, which some people do, it can fatigue the listener, depending on the qualities of the listener. If you have nothing but consonance, it has a very good chance of boring them. So just like when you're writing a story, you want to create tension, you want to create expectations for a final resolution to consonance. So that tension to consonance, tension to rest, that's really what we call resolution and what I'll talk about in a future video, which is cadence. All these things are your brain responding to these relationships automatically. It's built into your neurology. It's like an automatic natural thing to hear these relationships and want them to sound at rest. And all music is a controlling of these relationships in order to produce those effects. And all the emotions that you experience, apart from words that you might hear, but all the emotions you experience from the music itself, all has to do with this little concept here. And by the way, this can occur over time. If you have a melody, you have consonance and dissonance occurring over time, even if you hear just one note at a time. You have an expectation that eventually you're eventually going to reach that point of rest, that first note, what we call tonic. Okay, so that's the basic stuff that you need to know about music theory. It's math of sound that your brain responds to emotionally, which is very, very cool to think about. And most music is about controlling the relationship between tension, dissonance, rest, consonance. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can visit my websites for more, davidvstewart.com, dvspress.com if you're interested in my fiction writing. All the links for my books and stuff will be down below, as well as my music if you want to check that out and give it a listen. And of course, buy it. It makes me feel very, very good. And I will see you next time. Have a great day.